Why do orcas spy hop? Welcome back to Orca Camp Vancouver Island Orca podcast. I'm your orca pal Sandra, and today we are talking about one of the most iconic orca behaviors, spy hopping. That moment when a orca rises straight up out of the water and looks around. Hey, what's going on up here? It's one of those behaviors pretty much every whale watcher is looking for, um, because it feels playful, but it also incredibly practical for the orca. Uh, and it can mean a variety, different things, a variety of things, depending on where the orca is located, in which situation the orca is in, um, and what type of orca species. So first, quick to the context. When people say different orca species, what they usually mean is um, the different ecotypes. So groups of killer whales that have a distinct diets, like hunting styles, vocal patterns, and cultures. Scientists and conservation groups do describe them multiple ecotypes globally, including the fish-eating residents, like the northern resident killer whales, for example. So orca groups and mammal-eating, also known as the bigs or the transient killer whales in the North Pacific, plus several distinct Antarctic types. Same animal, different lifestyles, and almost like different nations with different traditions. So when we ask why do orcas spy hop, the real answer is it depends on what that orca needs in that moment. Spy hopping is when an orca lifts its head above the surface, holding a vertical position. It's widely described as an inspection behavior, a way to get a visual information above water that they can't get as clearly from below. And yes, cetaceans can see in the air. Their eyes work underwater and above water well enough to make spy hopping very useful for them. Now let's break down the biggest reasons. Spy hopping for visual intelligence. The simplest reason they are looking around. From underwater, the world above the surface is distorted by glare, waves, and light angles. Spy hopping gives them a clean peek at the shorelines and rocks, kelp lines and reef edges, birds clustering on the bait fish, and in the new age, certainly the boats, ships, cruise ships, kayakers, people in general on the water, and unfamiliar objects. This is especially relevant in coastal places like the Northeast Pacific, where navigation is complex and the coastline itself is a information to the orca. The NOAA notes that killer whales have multiple populations and habitats, and this kind of above water scan fits reality of living in changing coastal environment. So, and for those of us who spend time near orcas, yes, sometimes it feels like they're looking right at you. But even that can simply be because you want that to be, but it's most likely that they're assessing the situation. Who's standing at shore? Is it maybe people are recognized or the situation are recognized? Am I at the same place I was last year? Or with boats, how far is the boat away? How many boats are there in total? And how can I get around or underneath to get away from it? So now spy hopping as part of a hunting strategy, like the seal on ice story we've all seen on TV. Now let's go global, because one of these clearest hunting links to spy hopping comes from the Antarctica. In the Antarctica Peninsula, some ecotypes, often discussed as type B, pack ice groups hunt seals hauled on ice. Spy hopping can be a part of locating prey on the surface, on which ice block are the seals I would like to catch, and also to coordinate the wave to wash the seal off. So I think I've seen it on National Geographic, describes spy hopping behind seals on ice before a wave wash hunt. PBS also highlights the wave washing technique as a deliberate hunting strategy used in the Antarctic waters. And here's what is super fascinating. Antarctic killer whales are often discussed in several distinct ecotypes, type A, B1, B2, C, and D, with different diets and habitats. Open water versus pack ice, fish versus seals versus whales, and such. So, spy hopping in the Antarctica isn't just cute, it can be one move inside cultural transmitted, let's say, the hunting playbook. So, spy hopping during fish hunts, like for the northern resident killer whales or for the ones in Norway, there are also fish eating orcas there. The connection, so now to jump from Vancouver Island to Norway, where some orcas famously hunt herring using a cooperative method often called carousel feeding. They herd fish into a tight ball and use coordinated movements and tail slaps to stun the prey. Spy hopping shows up in these high energy surface contexts too, because when fish are being pushed upward, the surface becomes a barrier and a stage. So seeing what's happening at the surface can help the orca with timing, positioning, and group coordination. And the science literature on Norwegian cooperative foraging emphasizes how coordinated these hunts are. So in fish-eating ecotypes, spy hopping can fit as a part of where is the prey, where is my pot, what's happening above me, especially if we have many boats around the killer whales, where the listening to the group member becomes difficult. So spy hopping as social behavior has also been seen many, many times by whale watchers, is the playfulness, the learning, the teaching the young, and the prevention of injury, for example, getting too close to the shoreline, too close to the boats, ships, and such, again, if the noise is too high for them to use their echolocation or their dialects. Not every spy hop is about food, though. A lot of spy hopping happens when whales are socializing, especially younger whales, like a form of curiosity, practice, and of course, the horseplay. And here's a critical piece. Orcas learn about culture. Calves don't just know every tactic, they learn through time with family, especially with their mothers and with their grandmothers. That's why different ecotypes look like they have different traditions, because they do. So spy hopping can also be, like say, a curious check-in during social time, a practice move that builds strength and control, and a way to get a better look at the pod members, birds, coastlines, boats, and anything else around them. Now, last but not least, let's talk about spy hopping around boats and why our behavior as whale watchers matters. This part is important for anyone who whale watches. There's published research on, for example, the southern resident killer whales, showing that close vessel approaches can be associated with changes in the behavior and increased surface active behaviors. This doesn't mean every spy hop is a disturbance, a sign of disturbance, but it does mean when boats crowd the whales, we may see more surface activity, possibly including spy hops, because whales are monitoring and responding to what's around them. And again, as I mentioned before, if there's a lot of boat noise through ships, cruise ships, other kayakers, boaters, they have a hard time talking to each other and using their echolocation. And I have seen it many times with my own eyes when orcas, here with the northern resident killer whales, when the orcas get surrounded by boats and kayakers and paddle boarders and whatnot, they do attempt to spy hop in order to see and to relocate themselves to know where am we going from here, where is the rest of my pod and such. The spy hop, they're kind of like they want to see exactly where they are, where are the boats, where are the people, so they can swim around or simply underneath. So if you're whale watching, the best mindset is don't force the moment, so don't launch yourself into an orca pod coming up. Just give them the space. Here in Canada, it's 400 meters, and keep your presence predictable for the orcas and let the whales choose the interaction. Let's wrap up. What spy hopping really tells us. So why do orcas spy hop? Because it's a tool for intelligence, visual inspection, navigation, hunting, coordination, social learning, and sometimes simple curiosity and play. And across the world, from Antarctic pack ice to Norway's Herring fjords, the Northeast Pacific, spy hopping reminds us that orcas aren't just animals we watch, they're thinking beings living inside incredible cultures. Thanks everyone for listening, and I will see you guys all soon.